Hi. Now this today marks exactly 6 weeks since I had this operation, and it also is the first day that I took the car out for a drive. Quite poignant actually, because the location I was heading to was hydrotherapy, and what I do there I will come back to it in another video. However, what I want to talk about today is something I'm still currently having a lot of trouble with. I've had this problem in the water and on the land and when sleeping, and I have figured out what is going on based on what I know about biomechanics and what they've told me about the knee replacement, and I've got some ideas as to how to sort of combat it if it's a problem you've got. So what exactly is the problem? Knocky knees. That's what the problem is. Now you might say your knees click. That's normal if you've got your own bones, but it's not, it doesn't always hurt, but it's quite an unpleasant sensation when the clicking and knocking is in your leg, but you feel like it doesn't belong to you. So what is happening? Let me explain. So the knee is a hinge joint. Now, in basic terms, what that means is it bends in one direction like that. But there is some other movement which is a bit more subtle in a knee joint, because the knee joint's connected to your ankle and your hip and all those sorts of things. There's other things that going on here that you really need to be careful of. Now, the two things that I was told when I left the hospital that I had to really avoid was twisting the knee and falling. So what is actually happening biomechanically? Let me show you. Now this is my good leg. Obviously I'm not going to show you this on my bad leg. A knee is a hinge joint. So what it does is it bends and straightens like that. That's what the leg is supposed to do. However, there is something else that it also does, and it can do that and that. Now if you look at the kneecap, when I turn my foot, you'll see there is a degree of rotation in the knee joint itself. What we need to avoid with a knee replacement is rotation. So when you're walking, your foot has always got to be pointed forwards. You should not be doing that. You need to keep your foot pointing forwards. So what happens if you want to look over your shoulder? You've got to lift your heel and turn your whole leg. Now what you've got to bear in mind is that it takes up to 3 months for the implant to knit to your bone. And that is why in that period twisting is so dangerous, because you could dislodge the implant in that time. So hopefully, now that you know about the twisting, if you keep your foot, hip and knee all pointing forwards, you should be able to avoid the clicking action that happens inside the knee. And what that actually is the implant knocking against itself, which we need to avoid, quite frankly. Also need to look out in the car. When your knees sway side to side, brace one leg against the other leg so that your knees don't move, because that's the time that I hear it the most, is in the car. Also lying on your side, make sure you've got enough pillows between your knees that you've not got your knee twisted or your foot twisted, so that you don't feel that pain on either side of your knee. If you're still sort of 6 weeks or so post-op like me, you'll know when you've done that, because the knee will tell you by going, ouch, and that's what's happening. It's a warning. It's a warning sign to make sure you've got to keep your knee, your hip, your toes, your ankles all pointing forwards in the same direction. What you need to do also when you're changing direction, stop and purposefully turn. It's going to be hard work to begin with, but we need to protect this metalwork whilst it bonds with us. So hopefully that has been some help to anyone who's about to, has just had, or has got a new knee or two. I am also being asked about what I do in hydrotherapy, and I've also been asked about pillow stacking for sleep. So I'm going to come to those in some future days. If you've got a question for me, holler, because I will quite happily add it in. So hopefully that has been helpful for you. Have a lovely day.